I think it's finally time we talk about the Cleveland Cavaliers. And I'm going to start with the beginning of the JB Bickerstaff era, their current head coach. He's going into his fourth year this year. I think he's a great coach personally. His first year is the 2020-2021 season where they were rebuilding. They were horrible. They just drafted Isaac Okoro. Darius Garland was going into his second year. Jarrett Allen was their best player, which he wasn't even that developed at the time. He was going into his fourth year. They still had Anderson Varejao. Anderson Varejao was on the Cavs 3 years ago, which is kind of wild. So yeah, they were a horrible team. They were 22-50, 13th in the Eastern Conference. They had the 28th offensive rating in the league out of 30, and they had the 25th defensive rating out of 30. They were just a horrible team. They were young, besides Kevin Love, who was still there. And so, they had some adversity going forward. Going into the second year of the JB Bickerstaff era, the Cavs had an amazing rise. They finished 8th in the Eastern Conference. I believe they missed the play-in, so they didn't actually make the playoffs that year. But they were 8th in the conference. They were not projected to be 44-38 at all. I think a lot of teams were projecting them to be one of the worst teams in the league, but surprisingly, they had a great rise. Darius Garland was amazing that year. Jarrett Allen was an all-star. They got Ricky Rubio. They got Rajon Rondo. Isaac Okoro was in his second year. Dean Wade even contributed a little bit. They just got Karis LeVert. Kevin Love was doing well. This was the year that Lauri Markkanen was on the team for a bit. Evan Mobley was a rookie. They were looking great. And let me say, the Cavs have drafted amazing the past couple years. Darius Garland, huge pickup. Evan Mobley, huge pickup. Great defensive player, has offensive versatility. Jarrett Allen was a great steal when they picked him up. Dean Wade was a great second round pick. They know how to draft. They know how to draft. So they were overcompensated, I guess you would say. They did well than they thought. So I think a lot of people going into the next year, or should I say last year, were thinking that they were going to have a slump. But then in the offseason, they made a huge move. They got Donovan Mitchell, which is, I wouldn't say an MVP type player, but he is an all-NBA team type player. He's not going to win you an MVP, but he's going to give you buckets, and that's all he really needs to do. So they were set. They had their starting five going into the third year of JB Bickerstaff era. You have Darius Garland at point guard, who at this time is a 3-year vet. Jarrett Allen, 5 years. Evan Mobley at the 4. He's going into his second year. Isaac Okoro going into his third year. And then you have Donovan Mitchell, who's he's been in the same time as Jarrett Allen, but he's practically a vet as well. They finished the season 51-31. They finished 4th in the Eastern Conference. They lose in the first round to the New York Knicks. They played absolutely terrible. They lost 1-4 in that series, which I was very surprised. I thought they were going to sweep the Knicks, but I'm also a Knicks hater. So overall, not a bad season as they finished 4th in the conference, but I don't think it's what they wanted to accomplish. I think the Cavs at least wanted to make second round, conference finals, hopefully, and then finals was a whim. I don't think anybody expected the Cavs to make the finals. Conference finals, people thought, if they get there, I wouldn't be too surprised, but I don't think they're going to win it. And then second round, you're like, yeah, they're a second round team. They're going to beat the Knicks. But they get absolutely slaughtered by the Knicks. In that series, it was all they just shot horrible in that series. The New York Knicks defense was the main contributor to that series. Like, no doubt. Donovan Mitchell shot horribly during that series. He was not good at facilitating during that series. Everybody was just cold from the line. Everybody was cold shooting. So now we're going into this year. 4th year in the JB Bickerstaff era. What do the Cavs need to do to finally edge ahead and be a title contender? First off, let's look at the roster that they have right now. Obviously, we're midway through the summer, midway through the offseason. Some more moves can definitely happen. I don't know if the Cavs are going to be contenders, so I'm guessing this is going to be very close to their final roster. But you have Isaac Okoro, Donovan Mitchell, Evan Mobley, Jarrett Allen, Darius Garland, Ricky Rubio, Dean Wade, Karis LeVert. A huge pickup with Max Strus, going to be amazing for shooting. The thing that I said that they were lacking in the playoffs last year, which they shouldn't because their team is already good at shooting. Their 1 through 4 can shoot. Jarrett Allen is the only guy who starts that cannot shoot whatsoever. So Max Strus is great because he's big. He can defend. Great shooter. Very streaky. He can attack when you need to. He's a willing passer. He played with the Miami Heat. He knows how to be a system guy, which I think is going to be great for the Cavs. They also got Isaiah Mobley. They drafted him this year, 2-way player. Imani Bates, who has been doing all right in Summer League. He shoots a lot, which if he's going to be getting minutes for the Cavs, which I don't think he will. I think he'll mostly be in their G League team, if they have one. I don't even know if the Cavs have a G League team, but he'll be in the G League. I don't know if that's going to be working well for the Cavs because if you're not getting a lot of minutes, you're most likely not going to be taking a lot of shots. But maybe he can be like, I don't even know what type of player, like a Lou Will, a taller Lou Will. Because Imani Bates has amazing potential. Everybody thought he was going to be the number 1 pick. Then he had some things happen. He went to Eastern Michigan out of every college he could choose from after transferring from Memphis. And I don't think that helped him whatsoever. But besides that, the team is relatively the same. They also got Damian Jones for a backup center. No more Kevin Love right now. They got Ty Jerome too, George Niang. I don't know if I said Karis LeVert, but I think I did. Sam Merrill, who has been having an amazing summer league as well. He's the reason they're undefeated in the summer league, which probably doesn't say much. But he's a great 3-point shooter. Could be an interesting 3rd-string guard for Darius Garland and Ricky Rubio. I really hope Ricky Rubio is healthy this year because if he's healthy, he can be a big factor for them because he's the only guy who has more than 7 years of experience on the Cavs right now. They're relatively young right now besides Ricky Rubio, so he's the veteran of the squad. He's the guy who's going to be able to put them over the top and give them experience. Now, if we're looking at the Cavs last year, they were number 1 in defense. So defense is not the problem. Evan Mobley and Jarrett Allen are your lockdown paint defenders. Donovan Mitchell is probably better than decent perimeter defender as well. Darius Garland's probably your biggest crux. Isaac Okoro was drafted for his defense. A lot of your bench players are also fixated on defense. But other than that, the offense was 9th. So if you want to be a title contender, the offense is going to have to go up. The main thing is pace for the Cleveland Cavaliers. Last year, they were 30th, dead last in pace. I don't understand that at all because you have very young guys. Darius Garland is fast. Donovan Mitchell is fast. Jarrett Allen and Evan Mobley can run the floor if need be. So that's the one thing that the Cavs have to change. If you're just not 30th in pace and you're putting pressure on the other team coming off a fast break, who knows what you can accomplish? You're going to be getting buckets quicker. Your offense rating is going to go up. The pace of the game, like the statistic itself, the pace of the game will go up, which will be good for you. You have young guys. They're not going to tire easily. I don't know about the Cavs' conditioning, but just get that up a little bit. Bring the pace up. And you're going to be outscoring everybody because your team is full of scorers and lockdown defenders. It's a recipe for success. There's no reason the Cavs do not have, because they have the talent to win a championship. There's no reason they don't have the talent. They have that aspect. That's one aspect you need. The other is work. And if you aren't running up and down the court fast with young guys who are fast and can run up and down the court, then I don't know what you're doing. So that, for me, that's the main thing for the Cavs to do, is pace. Because the thing that coincides with pace is points per game. And the Cavs were 25th in the league. I don't know how their offensive rating was so high, but they were 25th in points. Because if you're a good offensive team, you should not be 25th in points. But yet again, it corresponds with pace. So the reason the Cavs are losing games is not by their defense, like I said. Not at all. It's from their offense, which should not happen. JB Bickerstaff needs to fix this because they have offensive talent. All of their players have offensive talent. Now, I think Max Strus is going to help this significantly because he'll be running down the court to get open on those spot-up open corner threes. And Donovan Mitchell has no reason to bring the ball up slowly. Yes, you do have a lot of big men, so those big men might be getting tired soon, like pretty easily, but that's something JB needs to figure out. He needs to figure that out because if they can just pick up the pace, get their points up, get that offensive rating up, there's no reason they should have lost the Knicks because that was their main crux. They couldn't score on the Knicks at all. The Knicks were a great defensive team, but they weren't number one. They weren't number one. You were number one in defense. So there's no reason you should have lost at all. They were very low-scoring games. So that's my rant. That's my rant for the Cavs. In order for them to win a chip, bring up the pace, bring up the points per game. And that's something JB Bickerstaff is on him. Because that's how you run your offense. Is you're telling the guys what to do. And I don't see why the young guys wouldn't want to run up and down the court a little more. By and large, this team has what it takes to win a chip. There's just minor fixes that they have to do. I wouldn't be surprised if they made it to the conference finals this year. I don't think that they'll win the championship this year. I still think they need experience in the playoffs. Last year was their main first year of being in the playoffs since LeBron. So they're going to need more experience. But if they're cooking, they're cooking. And if their defense is as good as it was last year, because defense wins championships. So if they got those two things going, I wouldn't be surprised if they were a little bit of contenders a little bit. I don't think they will be, but you never know.